Hello everyone, my name is Diana and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. If you would do me a favor, please like and subscribe. It would really help me a lot when it comes to growing my channel since I'm brand new. I just wanted to talk this video a little bit about our diet, the lifestyle that we have chosen to live in regards to our food. So we are predominantly a carnivore family. My kids do eat vegetables, but as far as bread, majority of the time, it would be sourdough bread, fermented foods, vegetables, things of that nature for my children. For my husband and I, on the other hand, we are carnivore. And let's see, my experience with it, when I was younger, 30 years ago, when I would have a baby and you're gonna lose the baby weight, whatever, I started off being, I was in the whole low fat, craze, because that's what everybody did, was low fat. And granted, when I was younger, I did lose weight that way. I would usually lose about 20 pounds in 6 weeks. And it wasn't actually that hard because I would cut out all the fat, and there was always these low fat substitutes that you can do that of course are full of chemicals. But being that I had a younger body, my body could handle, actually that's not true. But at the time I thought it could handle the low fat alternatives, that are out there. And so I lost weight that way. I didn't know, but it was harming my body in the process. But the scale was going down, so I was happy as can be. Then I moved to the low carb. That's what it is. Everybody is right now. So I would move to the low carb frenzy, and I lost weight that way. Well, the last time I lost weight doing just diet alone, I mean, I did some exercise and stuff. We did run, and but it was nothing consistent. Well, now that was probably the last time I had luck with that was probably 10, 12 years ago. Yeah, it was my son. My son's 12, so yeah, it was 12 years ago after I had him. Now, I'm in what the modern world says is perimenopause or whatever, and I lose nothing. I eat junk food, I stay the same. I eat garbage food, I stay the same. I eat healthy food, really good food, all the perfect foods, I stay the same. So I had to rethink things a little bit. And to be completely fair, we chose to go carnivore because primarily it was because my husband was getting gout all the time, and we were eating just low carb. He doesn't drink beer. He was overweight by like 10, 20 pounds, something like that. I mean, nothing huge. So he had none of the biomarkers that would cause you to get gout. We didn't eat that way. He never drank beer. We couldn't afford a lot of the meats that they claim cause gout. At least at the time we couldn't. And so he was getting sick, and none of the podiatrists or regular doctor could really give us any answers except for to put him on drugs. Well, we don't do pharmaceuticals, like rarely, only when it's like absolutely necessary will we do a pharmaceutical, because we do not like them. We want to heal the source, and the only reason we would ever use pharmaceuticals is when kind of like a Band-Aid, use it to help you get the source healed so that you can heal your body and no longer need those pharmaceuticals. So we stay far away from them. So what that meant is that I needed to figure out what was the cause, which we're still having issues with. So I will admit that. But his gout attacks are significantly reduced now due to the carnivore diet, which seems backwards compared to what all these doctors out there are saying, that red meat causes it and whatever. But that's primarily what we eat. And his gout attacks are going down significantly, and they're a lot shorter duration. Like yesterday, he started feeling one coming on, and 2 hours later it was gone. And he hadn't done anything to make it go away either. We usually take herbs or he would drink lots of water or whatever, but he hadn't really done anything, and it just went away. So he is healing from it. So that was why we initially started with going carnivore. Now, I will tell you the difficulties of going carnivore. It's a little boring at first, especially when you're used to, like, I'd have peaches, or I don't know, just the vegetables, broccoli salad, things like that. And you're having meat. I mean, granted, I love, like, my favorite is a ribeye steak, and we grill it, and I dip it in butter. Not that it needs the extra fat, but I love the taste of it. So it is really good. But I will tell you that after a while, in the beginning at least, you kind of get bored with the lack of variety on your dinner plate. Okay, so I was getting a little tired of it, to where sometimes I would even leave the table and I was still hungry. But I didn't want any more food. I didn't want any more meat, no more eggs, nothing, no meat. Another difficulty or con to the diet that I could tell you is that if you have rich tastes, it can be a little expensive. If you're willing to eat more inexpensive cuts, then the expense is probably the same, if not even a little easier on your budget, to go carnivore. Because I can tell you, I've noticed that I throw away a lot less food now. So the only foods that I catch myself throwing away or going rotten are vegetables. And that's because the kids don't really like them, but I don't really have a hard time getting them to eat their meat. Especially my little girls, they just love eating the meat. So rarely do I ever throw away any cuts of leftover meats. But vegetables, that's another story. So there's that. And then also, I didn't have a problem with this, but some people, I guess, have a problem in the very beginning getting their digestion regulated for carnivore. So they can have either constipation or diarrhea. And I know I had some family members that had this problem, but I never did. So I don't know what the difference was. Some of the good effects that I'm seeing, though, so I have more energy as long as I'm eating enough. I have more energy. I've noticed that I can get really tired, and usually that is linked to just not consuming enough food, because I don't get the same growling stomach or anything like that when I'm hungry. I get maybe a little spacey, but I don't get my stomach doesn't growl anymore. So, which is really kind of strange. I have to pay more attention to what my body's saying to me. But as long as I'm eating, then I can keep up. My energy levels are really high. Like, I live in a 2-story house, and I just fly up the stairs when I am eating carnivore. And as long as I'm eating enough food, that I have like no problems whatsoever. And it's great. I have all this energy and I don't get as tired, and I can exercise in the morning, and I recuperate a lot faster. Like, when you get sore from lifting weights, I recuperate faster. I never did that. So I was always tired for a long time, and it made it difficult for me to stay consistent with an exercise routine because I was tired. So I was like, well, you're not supposed to exercise when you're sore, and I'm tired. And so, but now I don't get that nearly as bad as I used to. And I attribute that to eating carnivore. Another effect that I'm seeing is when I lift weights, I have an easier time retaining muscle. Like, my muscles, I can actually see them growing. Not physically growing, but I can tell after a week or two of lifting weights, I can actually see the difference in my muscles. Whereas before, I could not seem to gain muscle. It was the strangest thing, because I lift weights and I couldn't lift heavier weights, the next couple times. But now I'm actually seeing the size of the weights going up, and that's just shocking to me. By the way, I've never experienced that before, so that's a really nice benefit. And that was clear back in high school. I'd be this little spindly little thing, and I had no muscles. But now I can actually see them. So another downfall about carnivore can be the cost, and that is only if you are buying the expensive cuts, the stuff that you're like the ribeyes or whatever. So it doesn't have to be expensive, though. You can do carnivore with eggs, ground beef. My husband hunts, and so we get meat that way. We raise some of our own chickens. Well, I raise all of my own chickens, and we raise our own pigs, and so I make my own bacon. And so I know not everybody obviously is able to do that, but you can chase the sales. That's how I was able to put food on the table for the first 20 years of our marriage with this many people in our family. Was, you know, you follow the sales, and so you have to now, especially with the way that the economy is. But if you follow the sales and you eat cheaper cuts of meat and you learn how to cook them properly, like with an Instapot, you can make those cheap cuts taste like a ribeye. So I highly recommend looking up Homesteading How is a good channel, and Ketogenic Woman is a good channel where they have lots of really good recipes on there. And we've been using those quite a bit recently, and they really help. So some meal examples of what our family eats. When Costco has ribeye roast, the great big roast, on sale, I'll buy one of those and slice it up and make those for like special occasion kind of dinners. But like recently it had the ribeyes, I don't remember the exact price per pound, but they had, it was either $50 or $60 off the entire roast. So we bought two and froze them, cut them up and then froze them. And so that really brought the price down quite a bit. We make chicken salad. I'll take a frozen chicken and stick it in my Instapot for about 70 minutes with about a cup of water, and it cooks the chicken down completely, and then debone it, and I mix that with some of the, what was that brand? Maybe it's called Chosen, but it's the avocado oil mayonnaise that you can buy at Costco, or you can buy it other places too, but we get it at Costco because it's a little cheaper there. I mix it with that with some salt and pepper, and my husband likes cumin added, and it makes chicken salads really cheap. You can also just buy some standard chickens and do that, but these are our chickens that we raise, so it makes it a little easier for us. Something I like recently for lunch is, this sounds kind of strange, my kids are still always teasing me about it, but I take egg yolks, because the egg whites, I'm kind of sensitive to them, and they make me nauseous after about 1 or 2 egg whites. So I take 8 egg yolks and I fry them in 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I just eat them that way. I eat all, and including all the butter, I eat the whole thing. And that's really, really good. We make some pancakes that are out of eggs and, what is that called? Collagen and gelatin that we whip together. So if you're liking these recipes, I can always put a link, but it's from other channels is where we found the recipes from. Chaffles, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of those. Chaffle is just an egg mixed with some mozzarella cheese, or my kids also just do eggs because I do have some that are allergic to dairy, in one of those little mini waffle makers, and they use those for bread sometimes, or I'll use them as bread and make a hamburger with it, put that mayonnaise on it and some meat and cheese and maybe some bacon, and that makes a sandwich or burger, and that's really good. I put taco seasoning and ground beef, maybe put a fried egg on it. That's really good. But you can look on YouTube and find lots of recipes. Like, again, it was Ketogenic Woman, and Homesteading How has some ways of cooking some of the lower cuts of beef too that I really liked. And I do have coffee. So I know coffee is technically not an animal, but I'm not giving up that. So I have coffee, and I will mix heavy cream in it, sometimes butter. And it sounds really crazy. The first time I tried this, it sounded really crazy, but I put an egg yolk sometimes in there, and as long as you whip it really fast with just a tiny bit of coffee in there, it'll blend, and then you can pour more coffee in there and it won't like scramble. But it does make like this big froth, and it's actually kind of good in a strange way. I thought it was crazy the first time I tried it, but it was actually pretty good. Now, I will tell you that occasionally I do cheat, so I'm going to be fair there. If we have some vegetables that I really like I have a weakness for broccoli salad, and I have a weakness for peaches. But when I do have some of that, it's maybe once every month. I might have, like I had some broccoli salad last night. We had some company over, and it was a special occasion, and so we had some last night. But mostly I stick to just meat. Or if I'm craving sweets, I'll have what's called brown butter bites. and those are really good, just browned butter, and then I freeze them into little silicone cups and eat those, and they have like a caramel kind of flavor to them, and they're pretty good. Those, and then sometimes I'll, like I said, I have peaches or something, but it's not very often that I do that. Maybe some frozen blueberries, but again, not very often. If I have some wine, so I have had wine when we have family over or whatever, I'd have a glass of wine. Now, when I do that, I will warn you that if you are carnivore, if you decide to adapt this diet, at least for me, not having it for so long and then having a glass of wine, it keeps you up at night. It's really strange. Like, I'll be really tired and I'll go to bed and I can't sleep. It's the strangest thing. And I'll wake up 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night, and in order to sleep, I end up, I do a lot of herbs and make tinctures. And so I'd end up taking some valerian root just to help me sleep, because it's strange. It's like, but it never did that before. So I don't understand why it doesn't now. Like, your body's more sensitive to what you shouldn't be having. But, well, it just means I'm not going to have it as often, I suppose, which I guess that's a good thing. So, and grains do the same thing to me, actually. Grains will keep me up as well, and sometimes kind of make my stomach just feel really heavy and yucky. So I don't tend to break it on grains. I'll break it on some of the really high quality dark chocolate, or the occasional glass of wine, but that's it. And not very often for the wine, just because I really value sleep now a lot more than I used to, really. Even when I had little kids and babies and stuff, and you'd get tired, I can survive then. But now, when I'm short on sleep, it messes with my mood, and yeah, my husband even tries to help me get enough sleep because he sees how much it affects how I run things. Sorry, dear. But I'm going to continue with the carnivore diet, because I find that it's really helping me with my health. It's helping how I feel in a general well-being sense. I haven't lost a lot of weight doing it. Very little, actually. The only weight I've really lost since doing carnivore is predominantly through fasting, which I do in spurts. I'll do like a 48-hour fast or 42-hour fast. Recently I did a 72-hour fast, but when I do them, I don't lose a whole lot of weight, but it kind of resets my metabolism, and I find myself slowly lose, like a pound or 2, and then it stabilizes again, because I stopped fasting, because I want to make sure that I'm not worried about it messing with my metabolism too much, but I don't want to increase my cortisol levels, and because that could also mess with your metabolism and mess with the way that you lose weight and the way you sleep. And so I'm just working on being the healthiest I can be and getting my body healed, just from years of abuse that we do to our own selves. And I'm finding that carnivore is one of the biggest helps that I've had. So highly recommend him, going into researching carnivore for your own health. You can look up Dr. Ken Berry. He's on YouTube, and he was one of the first doctors that I really listened to. And then Dr. Anthony Chaffee was another one. And then again, Ketogenic Woman and Homesteading How was also some others. There's a lot of other ones too that I follow, but those are the 4 biggest ones that I seem to listen to. So I hope this has helped you. Please, again, like or subscribe to my channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks.